Everyone knows who Nike is. You probably own a pair of their sneakers and maybe some of their apparel, maybe even some of their equipment. If you play sports, it's tough not to own a Nike product. Many of the best stars in athletics wear Nike, are sponsored by Nike. And they announced their earnings today. The earnings came out, and I wanted to review what the company had to report. Also, share with you how the stock price is behaving in after hours trading. I am a Nike stock holder. I thought it was a good stock to buy into based on the value of the overall company, the value of the brand, the dominance of this brand in the athletic footwear market. Let's take a look at the earnings and see what they reported. Do you like the videos and the live streams that you see on this channel? If you do, please consider being a paid member. I'd really appreciate your support. There's 3 levels you can consider, and the details will be on the description of the video, where you can go to the community page and see the different options. I hope to see you as a paid member, and I look forward to collaborating with you to learn how to better invest. So sales are down for Nike. They were down 10%. That's a pretty good drop in the first quarter. They have a fiscal year that just ended, and the first quarter just ended. So that wasn't good news. They did buy back shares, and they have paid a dividend today, which is good. As we look at the revenues, I think the company's trying to regather themselves. They have a new CEO, which is big news. And I think they may be putting a low quarter on the books. We'll see what happens later on, but this quarter was somewhat disappointing to me. I was hoping that they'd come in even. I was even optimistic that there would be some revenue growth, but that wasn't the case. The good news, they were very profitable, which is very good news. They did increase the amount of cash they have on the balance sheet, and their debt went down. So those were productive on the balance sheet. They did not provide a statement of cash flow, which is important to me. I'll have to wait for them to issue out their complete set of financials, which should be in a day or two. I updated my valuation of Nike by looking at the free cash flows I expect Nike is going to produce and discounting those cash flows to today's value. I also looked at earnings per share, and I blended the 2 valuations together. Starting with free cash flows, I did bring the free cash flows that I expect down in the company by 10%. Wasn't a great earnings. I brought down the expectation by 10%. And then I grew the cash flows in years 2, 3, 4 by 8%. And then all cash flows after year 4, I'm growing by 4%. The discount rate I'm using is 8%. Getting the intrinsic value, the net present value of all those cash flows amounts to $172 billion. That's what those cash flows are worth. I'm going to add the cash on the balance sheet and take away debt to get to an equity value of $173 billion. The market is pricing the company at $133 billion. So there's about a 30% discount if you look at the free cash flow value of Nike. Looking at earnings per share, it's a slightly different story. The earnings per share expected to be $3.13 in the current fiscal year. They just finished the first quarter of the 2025 fiscal year. I'm going to give them a PE of 24. It's a turnaround mode. It's a great company, but I'm going to go with a 24. I'm going to grow that earnings per share rate by 10%. So I get a per share value using earnings per share of $82.63. The stock is trading at $89. So there's about a 7% premium on the stock. When I blend the two, putting more weight on the free cash flow method, I get to a 17% discount on Nike. Nike is a very valuable company, and it is very desirable to me because it's the dominant company in their market space that has a brand that attracts a premium price on their shoes, on their apparel. They can grow into other categories. There's a lot of desirable aspects to Nike. I believe they have very strong moats and competitive advantages against their competition. They have outperformed the competition for many years. That's why they're so much bigger than anybody else. So I put them squarely in the green, making them a desirable company. Now, they are in turnaround mode. They need to figure out how to start growing again. And I think the hiring of a new CEO is a good idea. Overall, my investment in Nike, I've been investing in Nike for about 6 months, and my return so far is 8%. I'm not breaking any records there, but I'm glad that I'm in the green. An investment like this might take a little time because the company needs to repair itself, reinvent itself, and start to grow again. In after hours trading, the stock is selling off. It's down 2.79%. So I guess I'm not the only one that was disappointed with the earnings. What's interesting about this stock, I'm looking at the 5-year chart. And this is Nike. This is the dominant athletic shoe company in the world. And the market really became irrationally pessimistic against this stock. Sold it off by 59%, while the market was doing quite well. And that's what really caught my attention and made me look at this stock as a possible investment. I do not believe Nike is this broken. I think Nike has a lot of upside, and I can see this stock doubling in value over the next 5 years. So that's my video on Nike. I'm glad I own it, and I will continue to buy shares in the company to accumulate a good position. I'd like to invest about $50,000 in the company, and I think the company will double in value over the next 5 years. Keep in mind, this is just my opinion and my plan as an individual investor. It's not a recommendation for you to buy Nike stock, sell it, trade it in any way. Please make your investing decisions carefully. Thank you for watching. Good luck investing.